Today we're gonna be looking at 11 creepiest places in New Jersey. Now, being that I'm from New Jersey, I live in New Jersey, but I don't know shit about New Jersey. I'll tell you that. I know about the Pine Barrens, but never been there. To be honest with you, never been there. I heard of stories about about like Lambert High and stuff like that. Never been there though. Never been there. Or even just crazier conspiracy theories about like teens being killed in the woods, sacrificed from witches or demons or some crap like that. And yeah, never been there though. But you're about to see a lot of, I guess, creepiest places that's in New Jersey. So let's check it out.
If you've lived in New Jersey long enough, you know the state has two reputations. There's the one outsiders invented, the turnpike jokes, the reality television shows, the Bruce Springsteen references, and then there's the one locals know, the one nobody puts on a bumper sticker. Because underneath the diners and the exit numbers in the shore towns, New Jersey is hiding something. Abandoned asylums that held 4,000 souls, roads so cursed they have body counts, a creature born in 1735 that people are still reporting today. 11 places. Most locals won't go near them after dark, and by the time we get to number 1, you'll understand why. Number 11, Shades of Death Road. Warren County. We start with the name because the name alone earns this entry a spot on the list.
Really,
Shades of Death Road is a...
It's really called Shades of Death Road. Like, that's wild. Like, I'm not gonna even lie to you, that's crazy as hell.
Real road. It is a real road in Warren County in northwestern New Jersey, running about 7 miles through dense woodland between routes 46 and 611 near the town of Hope. And before you ask, yes, there is a town nearby called Hope. Make of that what you will.
Facts.
Nobody agrees on how the road got its name. Some historians point to the early 1800s when the area was plagued by malaria from a nearby swamp. People were dying quietly and regularly, and the road that passed through it started carrying the weight of that. Others say earned the name from a series of murders in the early 20th century, bodies found in the woods along the roadside, killings that were either never solved or barely documented depending on who you ask. A third theory, and this one is the most New Jersey explanation possible, is that locals were simply sick of being ambushed by wildcats along that stretch of road, and the name came from that. Wildcats. In New Jersey. What makes Shades of Death Road genuinely unsettling?
I mean, I don't know if that's why they would do it. I'm saying that's not legit. But the way he said like wildcats, like there's none in New Jersey. Like, no, we got bears here, bro. Like, I'm be honest with you. Like, but those be the area that have them. Like the Hope area and that type of Warren County type shit. Like, they have like the deer, well not deer, the bears. They'll probably have the wildcats or mountain lions or whatever you want to call them shits. I can see that though, because Jersey is fucking, like I said, I haven't ventured out into Jersey like I should have. I really wanted to do that this summer, but things change in a sense, plans change. But I have to do I want to show Jersey is very dense.
Today isn't any one thing, it's everything at once. The fog that settles into the low sections on cold nights sits so thick that headlights just dissolve into it.
Yeah.
There's a lake alongside.
I mean, yeah, that's a fact, because even where I live, I live in a towny area, but even the fog on my street, when it gets foggy, because it gets crazy fog, because I'm next to water and shit like that. So where I'm at, when the fog hits, it looks like a scene from a horror movie. It's kind of cool. It gives a cool little feel to it, but it's kind of creepy at the same time. It's that the cover art for the Exorcist movie, the original, the first one. It looks like that type of fog, but it's thicker. It's crazier.
Part of the road called Ghost Lake, which again is a real name on a real map. Locals have reported car trouble that resolves itself the moment they leave the area.
Wow.
Photographs taken along the road have come back with shapes that weren't there when the shutter clicked. You can drive Shades of Death Road right now. It's a public road. people commute on it. And somehow that makes it stranger, not less
Facts.
strange. Number 10, Clinton Road,
I wouldn't want to.
Passaic County.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't give a fuck. Listen, if there's another way to get to work, I'm taking that way. That the fact that it's called Death Shade Road alone is like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing here?
If Shades of Death Road is New Jersey's creepiest name, Clinton Road is New Jersey's creepiest reputation.
Yeah, I've heard of.
And the reputation is documented extensively,
That's the one with the black truck
uncomfortably
follows you or some
extensively.
shit like that.
Clinton Road runs 16 miles through the wilderness of Passaic County near West Milford, deep in the Highlands region of northern New Jersey. It is one of the most isolated stretches of road in the most densely populated state in America, which is already a strange thing to say out loud. No houses for long stretches, no cell signal, dense forest on both sides. The stories about Clinton Road have been accumulating for decades. There is a bridge at the 1 mile mark, Dead Man's Curve, where local legend says if you throw a coin into the water at midnight, a ghost boy will throw it back. People have tested this. Some say it works. The rational explanation is a current pattern in the water below that redirects objects thrown from the bridge. The less rational explanation is that there is a ghost boy living under a bridge in Passaic County, New Jersey, and he is bored. In 1983, the body of a man named Richard Ritter was found in the woods along Clinton.
He's bored. That is crazy as hell to say, though. I mean, I've heard stories about that bridge, about throwing the coin and stuff like that. I mean, see, like, I want to do stuff like that. I'm so curious to do stuff like that, but I don't know if I want to do that shit at night. Like, because I'm a firm believer of, like, spiritual stuff and, you know, evil. Yes, there's good spirits, but there's definitely evil spirits, too. So it's like, you know, I'm always, like, very cautious and wary of those type of things because, like, that shit follows. If it latches on to you, it's following you home. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to torment you at that point.
Road. He had been murdered elsewhere anyway, you know? And dumped there, kept cold through a winter by the killer, which tells you something about how isolated this road actually is. Vultures found him before anyone else did. Ku Klux Klan gatherings were reportedly held in the woods along Clinton Road for decades.
Bastards.
Satanic ritual sites have been documented by police in the area. Druidic cult activity, strange figures reported in the tree line. Clinton Road has a Wikipedia page dedicated entirely to its paranormal and criminal history, which is not something most roads can say, and probably not something most roads would want to. Park rangers advise against stopping along Clinton Road at night. The New Jersey State Police have responded to enough calls from that stretch that they do not even sound surprised anymore.
Wow.
Number 9.
I never knew that. I never knew that. That's crazy. Honestly, that is kind of creepy as hell to know, like, you don't know what could come at you. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said like in the beginning of that one, I think that's the same bridge or that same area where I think the black truck comes and chase you. Apparently, there's a story about a black truck around those areas, like in the Pine Barrens or whatever, where it's like a black truck chases you or runs you down or some shit like that. Like, I don't know. I mean, that whole road and that whole area is just fucking crazy as hell. So I don't know if that's the same story for that same area, but I know that whole vicinity from there to fucking the Pine Barrens is it's just mad stories of mad different shit. You know what I'm saying?
Spy House, Port Monmouth. The Spy House sits on the Raritan Bay waterfront in Port Monmouth, Monmouth County, and it is one of the oldest structures in New Jersey. The main building dates to around 1646. To put that in perspective, this building was standing before the United States existed, before the Revolution, before New Jersey was even called New Jersey. It has been watching the shoreline for nearly 400 years. It earned the name Spy House during the Revolutionary War. The building served as a tavern and inn, and according to historical accounts, the owner used it as a gathering point for British soldiers who would drink and talk while American spies listened from the walls. What was overheard in that building reportedly changed the outcomes of naval engagements in the Bay. The walls of the Spy House contain the echo of things that shifted history. Paranormal researchers have cataloged more than 30 distinct entities reportedly active in the building, not 30 incidents. 30 individual presences that investigators have attempted to document. A sea captain who paces the upper floors, children who appear on the grounds and then do not, a woman in a white dress who stands at the water's edge and vanishes when approached. The museum curator who managed the building for years kept a personal log of unexplained events that ran to dozens of pages.
Oh, dang it. What is it?
For years, kept a personal
Objects move. Pewter cup found on table in study, not there previous evening. Also, he was just writing down all types of shit.
log of unexplained events that ran to dozens of pages. Now, here's where it gets complicated, and I want to be straight with you about this. Some historians dispute the spy house origin story, arguing the espionage connection was embellished in the 20th century for tourism purposes. The building's age is genuine and documented. The number of reported paranormal events is genuine and documented. Whether history and haunting overlap perfectly here is debated. But if you are standing in that building after dark, listening to the bay outside, and something moves on the floor above you, you are probably not stopping to check the academic citations. Number 8.
I mean, I would like to see that house. I gotta see where that's at now. Cause I would like to go visit there. That seems like a cool little areas to go visit and shit. Not at night though, but in the mornings. And honestly, I feel like in those times, man, like it was, I don't know. I feel like there's so much things that could tie into like reasonings of why there's like apparitions or ghosts. I mean, even though like some people don't believe in an afterlife, right? Or like even in my religious belief of Christianity, like we don't believe like in a sense like ghosts or astral plane of a ghost, what I mean, like purgatory or whatever, right? Like we don't believe in that stuff. I do, me personally, I do, but because I just feel like there's things tied in from the past, like you gotta think about like the set, the people who was here before settlers and conquerors, right? Like people before, before even the Indians, right? Whoever was here before the Indians, like which is obviously the Indians. But like the point I'm making is just like I feel like a lot of that stuff could tie into like those time things, those time periods where like maybe it was a curse on the land, right? In that Pacific area, maybe someone did die in that Pacific area. I don't know, but it could be a couple of things on why that shit is so like haunted. You know what I'm saying? And that's anywhere, honestly, too. But like in that specific spot, because they didn't say it was any killings, right? I didn't hear anything about killings. So the fact that it was just a spy house and there's logs of ghost apparitions and shit like that, it's like, can that be real or could it be bullshit? You know what I'm saying? That's the question.
The ruins of Feltville, Union County. Here's a town most New Jersey residents have never heard of, even though 3 million of them live within 40 minutes of where it stood. Feltville is a ghost village buried inside the Watchung Reservation in Union County, less than 30 miles from Manhattan. You can reach it on foot from a parking lot off New Providence Road, which is itself an unsettling sentence, a ghost town accessible from a parking lot. David Felt built it in 1845. He was a New York stationer, a paper manufacturer, and a man who apparently decided that what he really needed was his own private village. He constructed a complete community in the Watchung Mountains, houses for his workers,
I think I heard this story,
a general store, a church, a mill, a school, everything a functioning town required, all owned by one man, all named after one man, all controlled entirely by one man. Felt demanded church attendance from his residents. He controlled the store. He set the rules for daily life in a way that sat somewhere between paternalistic and genuinely oppressive, depending on how charitably you read it. Workers called the village Glenside out of resentment. Felt called it Feltville because it was his and he wanted you to know that. By 1860, Felt had left and the town was largely abandoned. It had a second life briefly as a Victorian resort in the 1880s and then went quiet for good. What remains today inside the Watchung Reservation is genuinely eerie.
Why would you leave your own town? You was so proud that it was named after you and you just leave out of nowhere. So you'd be like weird shit like that, like why? What was his reason? Why did he leave? You feel me? And I only know this story because I freaking had the Weird New Jersey book. It was a volume, I believe. It was a volume 3, I think, was two or three, one of them ones. And it had this story in there. It had a lot of stories actually. But this one always kind of fascinated me a little bit because like it just like once he left, or I think in the book they say he died. I think in the book they say he died, but in this case he left, whatever, died, left, however it happened, it happened. Point is though, the fact that it just like after that it just went to just be abandoned, and then nobody took it over, nobody uses it, nothing, like nothing, like nobody at all. Like that kind of like comes to my mind now, like, and the fact that nobody hasn't, it's like, why not? Why is that not being utilized? Right? These are homes that could probably get refurbished, refixed, and remodeled to be resold to someone who needs a home. You feel me? It just makes me think like, why is that? Like, why nobody lives there? Like after he left, what happened? You know, like these are, I don't know, these are the type of shit that I want to see in movies. You feel me? Like a little what if story, right? Like this is why he left, right? And it could have been because, you know, spirit haunted the grounds, or an Indian spirit haunted the grounds, or maybe he made a pact with the devil and he didn't fulfill his end of the bargain. I don't know, something, right? Like just come up with something, because that's a crazy story to know he just upped and just left and that was it. Like that's mad wild.
Original 19th century structures still standing in the woods, stone foundations disappearing into the underbrush, a cemetery, a stream running past structures that have been crumbling for over 100 years. The Union County Park System maintains the site, which means it is technically open to the public. Hikers pass through it on weekends. Most of them walk a little faster once they realize what they're walking through. Number 7, Mount Rose Cemetery, Mercer County. There are cemeteries that feel peaceful. There are cemeteries that feel historical. And then there is Mount Rose Cemetery in Mercer County, which feels like neither of those things. Mount Rose is a small rural cemetery sitting off a back road near Hopewell in Mercer County. It is not famous. It does not have a dramatic history attached to it. No mass casualty event, no notorious figure buried within it.
So why is this?
And that is almost exactly the problem. The headstones in Mount Rose date back to the early 1800s. Some of them have sunk at angles that seem structurally impossible. Others have been worn so smooth by weather that the names are entirely gone, which is its own particular kind of erasure. People who were born and lived and died and had their names carved in stone, and now even the stone has forgotten them. Locals in Hopewell have stories about Mount Rose that they tend to tell in the specific way people tell stories they believe but do not expect you to. Lights seen moving between the headstones after midnight, a cold that settles over the cemetery regardless of the ambient temperature, even in August. A smell that visitors describe as wrong before they can describe it more specifically than that. There is no visitor center, no historical marker, no weekend tours. Mount Rose is just there at the end of a road, waiting, in the particular way that very old, very forgotten places tend to wait. Number 6.
I ain't gonna lie, that's kind of sad. Like, those are forgotten people, you know what I'm saying? Like, waiting, you know, like I said, because like I said, in our religion, you know, we kind of have a certain, there's different ways of people, how people depict when you die, right? Like afterlife. But like, some of us believe, like, you know, that you know, you're pretty much waiting until God comes. So it's like, it's in my sense of that's how I believe it. It's like, damn, I think about that. It's like, damn, that's sad. Those people are waiting for God to come. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, they're waiting for God to come to be judged, and they're forgotten. You know, it's like he said, the tombstone, like the stone, the very stone that etched their name, and it forgotten them. Like, that's crazy as hell, bro. I'd be mad as hell if my tombstone forgot my damn name and shit. Like you bastard. That's crazy, man. I want to see that. I actually would like to go there. Like in the morning, of course. Like in the morning, of course. Mind you, I'm going to be saying in the morning a lot of these times. But like, I would definitely like to go in the morning to that cemetery, because that shit would probably be like
Proprietary house.
It's mad historic. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's years.
Perth Amboy. The proprietary house in Perth Amboy is number 6. The proprietary house, Perth Amboy. The proprietary house in Perth Amboy is the last surviving royal governor's mansion in America. That alone makes it historically significant. What makes it go on this list is what reportedly never left it. The house was built in 1764 and served as the official residence of William Franklin, the royal governor of New Jersey, and perhaps more famously, the son of Benjamin Franklin. William Franklin was a loyalist. When the Revolution came, he chose the crown over the colonies and over his own father, which is the kind of family dinner conversation that probably ended badly for everyone. He was arrested in 1776 and spent years as a prisoner of war before eventually sailing to England and never returning. He left the house. But according to the accounts of visitors and the staff of the historical society that now manages the property, something did not leave with him. Footsteps on the upper floors when no one is there. Doors that open without assistance. A figure reported in the window of the second floor that disappears when approached from the street. One historical society member, a person whose job involves documented, sourced, verifiable history, told a reporter that she stopped going upstairs alone after a specific evening in which she heard her name spoken clearly in a room she had just verified was empty. William Franklin died in England in 1813, having never reconciled with his father and never returned to America.
That's crazy. Honestly, I would assume Ben Franklin, sorry, that's George Washington. Ben Franklin would have a kid, but like, I never knew his son was. I didn't know he had a son named William Franklin. I never knew that, and I didn't know they had a fight. I didn't know none of this. That's news for me. You know what I'm saying? The more you know. I like history, so that's what I said. Like, that's actually fascinating for me to know that. But I stopped this because I'm thinking like, it's probably because that's, spiritually speaking, it's probably his regret, right? He probably wishes, and before he died, he probably wishes that he could have reconciled. Or it could be Ben Frank. It could be Ben Frank. His soul could be there, stuck because he died with remorse, right? Like, either one. It could be either or, right? It could be either or, and it could be because out of remorse, wanting to reconcile, wishing they could just, or just the fact that maybe that's their happy thought, right? That home was their happy thought at one point in time. That was, he grew up there probably, or whatever the case may be, right? I think. So maybe it could be that. It could be, that's it. These stories, when you hear these stories in these haunting places, it's like, man, like, I don't know. Like I said, I like history. I like shit like that. So for me, I just start thinking deeper about it. Like, damn, like I wonder, like that's the reason why. Because who's like I said, even though I shouldn't technically believe in that theory, but like I do believe in like what if, right? Like what if that is true though? Like what if one of them had remorse or regret, and that's why they're still there? Is unfinished business. You know what I'm saying? Like it's an unfinished business thing. Like never know.
But whatever is walking the floors of the proprietary house in Perth Amboy doesn't seem to have gotten that news. Number 5, Devil's Tower, Alpine.
Yes, I heard about this.
Every list like this has one entry where a rich man did something strange and regretted it in ways he didn't fully anticipate. For New Jersey, that entry is Devil's Tower in Alpine, Bergen County. The tower was built around 1910 by a man named Manuel Rionda, a Cuban sugar magnate who had purchased a large estate in Alpine and apparently decided what it needed was a 60-foot stone tower in the middle of the property. No other explanation for its construction has ever been fully documented. He wanted a tower. He built a tower. The legend that attached itself to the tower involves Rionda's wife. According to the story, she fell or jumped from the tower. According to other versions, she fell from a window in the main house. The details shift depending on who is telling it, and the historical documentation is murky in the specific way that wealthy families' private tragedies tend to be murky. What is consistent across versions is that Rionda, consumed by grief, reportedly cursed the tower and the land around it before eventually abandoning the estate. The main house was demolished. The tower remained as towers do because towers are stubborn. Today, Devil's Tower stands on private property in the Palisades Interstate Park Zone, technically off limits to visitors.
It's crazy because like when he said the fact that it's murky, so what that gave I don't know. For me, it felt like maybe she had mental issues. And obviously back then they probably didn't know about these. Back then those times they didn't know about mental issues like that. They didn't know about if they had a kid, maybe she had postmortem depression. And like I said, they didn't have those diagnoses. If they did, I mean, that I know of, I don't think they did. Especially when we're talking about like, I feel a year you said, but if you said a year, I don't know if you said a year or not, but if you did, definitely a long, long, long ass time ago, because those pictures that they showed of the people look mad long time ago. So I don't know. I mean, it's sad though to hear stories like that. Like she probably blah, 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 blah. She probably jumped out off of like maybe this just being having a psychotic breakdown, psychosis, something. Could have been something. And like I said, back then they didn't have any diagnosis, so that's why it was murky again. And he probably that's why he had remorse about it, because he misses his wife. You feel me? And he didn't understand why she did such a thing. But like you said, in those times, for those people, like rich people in those times, man, they were very private. Everything was private. Everything was everything was private. And everything was an embarrassment. You know what I'm saying? Like it was embarrassed. Oh, your wife has some type of mental issue, or something like that. It was just like, oh man, you got a broken one, right? And it was just like an embarrassment. It was like an end joke for those rich guys. Sad to say, and it sucks for the females, because it sucks like how they got looked at and treated at those times. But
which means that the people who go there anyway are
it's crazy
specifically the
times.
kind of people who are drawn to a cursed 60-foot stone tower on private property after dark. This has not ended well for several of them. Police have responded to incidents at the site multiple times. The tower itself is structurally unsound, and yet people keep going back, which tells you something about the pull of a place that has decided it wants to be noticed.
I mean, that could be a case too. Could have built it on that specific patch of land. Could have been built on something sacred. Could have been built on something cursed. Could have been built on something, or maybe someone who built it. Who knows, right? Like, because he probably could have had somebody who built it who probably didn't like him. Could have cursed the whole building, right? Could have cursed the whole tower. Like, yeah, we're gonna build this tower, but I'm gonna curse it at the end. He probably cursed that shit. Probably cursed it to the point where it's like anybody who comes here, anybody who's related to him, his wife, whatever, they all die from this tower, jump off, whatever it is. You never know. People do some crazy shit, bro. Like that shit, bro. People do some crazy shit. And listen, this you can't tell me people just start doing crazy shit. Like hell no, people been doing crazy shit since the beginning of time, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying?
The Hermit of Jungle Road, Cream Ridge. Not every entry on this list
Road.
Involves a ghost. Some of them involve something that lands differently than a ghost. Something that makes you feel like you wandered into a story that was not finished yet. Jungle Road in Cream Ridge, Monmouth County, is a rural stretch of road through farmland and scrub in central New Jersey. For decades, the road was associated with a man locals called simply the Hermit, a figure who lived in the woods adjacent to the road, and who became the subject of stories that accumulated the way stories do around people who choose to exist outside of the normal social agreement. Accounts of the Hermit spanned generations of local residents.
Is that the Hermit?
He was reportedly seen at the roadside at odd hours. Children
dared
dared each other to go near the woods he lived in. Adults who had grown up hearing about him told their own children, who told theirs. The specifics of who he actually was, whether he was one person over decades or a series of individuals who occupied the same territory, were never clearly established. What made Jungle Road persist in local memory was not violence or confirmed supernatural activity. It was the uncertainty. The feeling that the road contained something that had not been categorized yet. New Jersey is a deeply suburban state. Pockets of genuine wildness in it hit differently than they might somewhere more rural. When the woods start right at the road's edge, and something has been living in them for longer than anyone can remember. It does not take much for a place to earn a reputation. Locals in Cream Ridge still talk about Jungle Road in the specific tone people use when they want you to know they are being practical and rational, but they are also not going there after dark.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie to you. Like when I be doing like DoorDash and Grubhub and stuff like that, or even when I do ship, it's crazy because like I always get into these weird like I always get like one or two deliveries some nights, and it's always at nighttime. Like where I like so where I live is towny, a little bit towny. I mean, there's like a little, I guess you would call it township or city like area, but it's real towny to me, because I'm from the city of Camden. So like for me, it's more city or more of a city like thing or city, like a real city to me. You know what I'm saying? But point is, like when I make some of these deliveries, it's just funny because like I'll get some of those roads where they're like, you know, very narrow, like just fucking this fucking thin, and I'm sitting there trying to drive through, and there's like mad little humps, so you gotta go slow. And I start thinking to myself, like, yo, this is where people could die. Like, I got one story, right? One time, I took this fucking dude's food. It was Burger King or some bullshit. Took it out to him. It was dark as hell. And a lot of these roads be so dark, man. Like, they be like pitch fucking black damn near, and there's damn near like no light poles or nothing. So it's just your headlights and whatever little bit of light the sky gives you. You know what I'm saying? So I'm driving on the street. I get to the part of his like where he's like where I gotta get ready to turn, but I can barely see the turn because it's a narrow road. And then on top of that, I didn't think it was a road there because it was so narrow. Like it was just so small. Then to my left, I see like a bunch of fucking like cars in the woods, kind of like off, but they look like new, but they look like they're not being used. You feel me? Like you could just tell like they're newer cars, but they're not being used. And then like there's a lake, like water, right? Some water lake, and then I finally turn, and then it was just creepy because even when I'm turning up to go upward towards his house, because like on each side there's houses, but before you get to those houses, it's like another patch of woods or some shit, and it's like more cars, and it was just like, yo, I just felt like at that point in my thought process, in that point of time, I'm thinking to myself like, bro, what if these guys call people here and they get them killed? Like, you know what I'm saying? They just dump their cars there. Nobody gives a shit. Like, because it's so like closed off to the main world or to just even to the main road. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to go through turns and shit like just to get to here and then do another turn just to get to this guy's house. So it was just like those places do be kind of creepy. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I mean, like, I like it because I like the thrill, I guess you could say. Because I do be like, ooh, like I be feeling like, ooh, yeah, Halloween, you know. But like, I be thinking to myself, like, yeah, I gotta be careful. Like, I gotta definitely keep a weapon on me or something because like you never know. Like weird shit happens in those weird little dark areas. You feel me? Dark streets and shit.
Number 3, Fairy Tale Forest, Oak Ridge. An abandoned children's theme park in the woods is one of those things that sounds like the setup for a horror film and turns out to be an actual place you can visit in New Jersey, which somehow makes it worse. Fairy Tale Forest opened in Oak Ridge, Passaic County in 1956. It was a small family-owned attraction built around fairy tale characters and storybook scenes. Little Red Riding Hood, Cinderella, Snow White. The kind of place parents brought young children on summer weekends when the world was simpler and nobody had thought too hard about the long-term aesthetic consequences of large concrete fairy tale figurines left to weather outdoors for 6 decades. The park operated for over 40 years. It wasn't always struggling. People loved it. Generations of New Jersey families have memories attached to it.
I never went.
And then, as with so many small regional attractions that couldn't compete with the scale of larger theme parks and the changing economics of family entertainment, it quietly stopped. The last season ended.
That'd be the problem, bro. We be always so quick to freaking like support bigger chains, bro, and don't realize like if we just support smaller chains a lot of the times, we can actually build something even better. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. It's just sad because like that looked like a cool ass place for everybody to just chill out back in the '70s or wherever the fuck that shit was made up. You know, whenever it was invented, and it's like, damn, like you know what I'm saying? Like then here comes fucking great Six Flags Great Adventures and fucking The other was the Sea World and all that other shit we have, whatever the fucking other one is, that the water park and shit.
The gate closed. The owners moved on. The figures remain. Concrete storybook characters, faded and cracked,
Damn.
standing in the overgrowth in various states of deterioration.
Damn.
A witch whose painted face has been worn by decades of New Jersey weather into something that no longer reads as fairy tale. Animals from children's stories that have been reclaimed by vines until they look like something that grew there rather than something placed there.
That should probably look crazy.
The forest, which was always the backdrop, has been steadily eating the structures for years. The property has been targeted by urban explorers and photographers for decades. Owners have attempted to keep trespassers out with varying success. There is something about the combination of children's imagery and genuine decay that triggers a specific kind of unease in people. The feeling that innocence has been left somewhere it wasn't supposed to be left and has gone wrong in the leaving. Fairy Tale Forest is not technically a ghost town.
Yeah, that's sad, I ain't gonna lie to you.
Nobody lived there, but something about it belongs on this list anyway. And I think you understand why.
Yeah, it's history. You gotta put it on the list.
Number 2, the Pine Barrens and the Jersey Devil.
Yeah, that shit crazy.
Burlington, Ocean, and it.
So yeah, Pine Barrens is definitely like, yeah. You feel me? Like I've heard crazy stories about, and I want to go. Like I really want to go to the Pine Barrens. Like I'm trying to see if I know one friend of mine will go. I know he said he would go. If I could at least get one more, maybe two more, right? At least one or two more. That would be cool. Like make it like a little field day, early morning. You know what I'm saying? I want to go there, and I want to go to that statue of the Mexican pilot, the statue of the Mexican pilot dude that crashed here back in like I think it was like the 50s or 30s or whatever the hell it was. But like I want to go to those two places. I want to go to Pine Barrens and I want to go to that spot, that statue spot, the airplane and shit.
Atlantic counties. In 1735, a woman named Jane Leeds found out she was pregnant with her 13th child.
Damn.
She was exhausted.
Damn.
She was furious.
Damn. I didn't know. Damn, bitch. 13? Bro, I never knew it was 13. I heard that she had kids, but like 13? Hey, yo. Did you even get a break? Like, bro, like she snapped. No wonder she thought she bore a damn Jersey Devil and shit. She psychosis kicked in. She was fucked up. Like
Probably both. So she cursed the child, said she'd rather birth the devil himself than another baby. The child was born. And then, according to a story South Jersey has been telling for nearly 300 years, it stopped being a child. Wings, hooves, a forked tail.
Yep.
It killed the midwife, flew up the chimney, and vanished into the Pine Barrens. It has been reported out there ever since. Naval Commodore Stephen Decatur fired a cannonball at it in the early 1800s, hit it directly. The thing kept flying. Joseph Bonaparte, former king of Spain, living in exile in New Jersey because history is strange, spotted it while hunting. During 1 week in January 1909, over 1,000 people across South Jersey reported seeing it. Schools closed, mills shut down, nobody left their houses. The Jersey Devil has never been caught, never been photographed convincingly. And yet New Jersey named their National Hockey League team after it, making this the only state with a professional sports franchise named after a cryptid born from a colonial curse. Honestly, that tracks. Number 1.
Let's go Jersey Devils. Woo! Only team we got, so I got to root for them. But I always found the story of New Jersey Devil like very fascinating because like I hate that when the roof of your mouth starts itching. Anyway, I always found it fascinating because like there's been stories of like what it looks like, how it looks like. People said they seen it. I technically have a story with my mom and my older brother. Me and him can't really attest to it. We was there, but we can't say what we saw because we didn't really see anything. My mother, on the other hand, said she saw something. She drew it out for us, and I'll leave it at that.
Greystone Park Psychiatric Hospital, Morris County. There are places on this list that are creepy because of what happened there. And then there is Greystone Park, which is creepy because of the scale of what happened there, how long it happened, and the specific silence that fills a place where thousands of human beings lived out the full length of their suffering. Greystone Park Psychiatric Hospital opened in 1876 in Morris Plains on a hill overlooking what was then open farmland in northern New Jersey. The main building was designed in the Kirkbride plan, an architectural philosophy that believed the design of a building could itself be therapeutic. The theory was that a beautiful, ordered structure would calm disordered minds. What went up at Greystone was enormous, Gothic in its proportions, the kind of structure that announces itself from a mile away and does not apologize for it.
Facts.
At its peak, Greystone housed nearly 7,000 patients inside a single building on a single hill in Morris County. Perpetually overcrowded, perpetually under-resourced. The treatments available in the late 19th and early 20th century for psychiatric illness are not things that read easily today. What accumulated inside those walls over more than a century can only be called institutional suffering at scale. Woody Guthrie spent years at Greystone during his battle with Huntington's disease. A young Bob Dylan visited him there. Allen Ginsberg came through those halls. The most iconic counterculture voice in American history sat in those rooms.
Should I know who the hell that is? I feel like I should, but I don't. I don't. Comment below if you know who the hell they were just talking about, because I don't know who the hell that guy is.
That detail alone should tell you something about what kind of place this was. Greystone closed in 2008. In 2015, the main Kirkbride building was demolished despite being on the National Register of Historic Places. Urban explorers had documented it extensively in the years between. Restraints still attached to beds, patient files on the floors, a chapel with pews still in rows. The debris of 130 years of institutional life left exactly where it fell on the last operating day. The site is cleared now. The absence of the building is its own kind of presence. Greystone is number one, not because of a curse or a creature or a single crime. It is number one because of what it represents. A society deciding certain people need to be separated from the rest of the world, building something permanent to do it, filling it for 132 years, and then walking away. The hill is quiet now, but quiet does not erase what happened there. If you drive past it at night and you know what used to stand on that hill.
Yeah, I mean, those places, man, I feel like in those time periods, like that's why like so many of those places, like asylums like that, like abandoned like mental health facilities and asylums, or whatever you want to call them, you know, a lot of those, I feel like I can't say this is true facts or anything like that, but I feel like a lot of them were legitly made just for special scientific projects, right? Like just to torture people, you know. And I don't want to call it torture. For them, they looked at it as like, oh, this is what do you call it, experimenting, right? Like, oh, we're just experimenting to see, you know, medicine, to see what works for this and that. And I mean, to give credit, like they had no other way to experiment, right? Like they had to experiment with something in some of these cases, right, to see if it will legitimately work. I get that. Sometimes you got to make sacrifices and for the greater good. But at the same time, it's like a lot of these people were actually scientists. A lot of these scientists and doctors were fucking just psychotic. Like a lot of them were actually crazy, just killers, or psychotically just you know, egotistical, I gotta be God type of people. Some, you know, some of them, not all of them, but some of them. because I feel like a lot of these asylums, they always have like at least one story of like a patient or a doctor or a physician or something or a nurse where they were crazy, murderers, schizophrenic, something, and it escalated to something worse. Or there's always like ghost stories in these buildings because a lot of people got tortured or there are people that died there. So it's like I don't know. I feel like a lot of these spots, to me, even though these are like not hauntings or anything like that, like they're not saying this place was haunted. I don't think, but it just showed like it could have been. It could be one of those ways that was haunting, and the fact that they just left it the way it was, like files, everything, like that's crazy. Like it's like there's just up and just like everybody just was like, oh, we all quit and never came back, and then it's like that was it. Like that was all she wrote. It's just crazy. Like some of these places that you see, you know, whether it's Jersey, apparently look at the next video is haunting in Arizona, right? Comment below if you want me to do haunting in Arizona because like I like to learn these things. I like to see other states' histories because I never traveled to these other states. I've never seen Arizona. Right? I don't know what the fuck it looks like. So it's like to know some of these stories and stuff like that. I want to know, and I like this stuff. I like knowing about scary stories and scary artifacts or scary history, right? Like something scary history to me, or even creepy history, or just the fact that there's a story and it's like the way the story is told and what the story is about might be intriguing to me. I just like history. I guess you could say. I don't know. I guess I like history, but that's all we got for today. Make sure water caught up to me. Excuse me. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. You feel me? Comment below if there's certain videos you would like me to react to or review on. Just let me know.